Good evening and welcome to the Orville Rewatch podcast, the show, the whatever we want to call it. I don't know. We've never really had an official name, have we, Dave?
We have many names. The Orville Review Show, or
There you go. Let's just call it that. All right. Anyway, it's the Orville Season 3, Episode 8, Midnight Blue. And of course, I couldn't do this without the entourage. Well, I'm more like their entourage, really. But you know what? Let's get into it anyway. And of course, we have the mighty producer, the man who would hold the hammer if he was the god. And that, of course, is Dave Mater.
Oh, it's the top of the evening to you, Jody. It's a happy St. Patrick's Day.
I noticed you have the green on.
Yes, as you do not.
I do not.
You're a bad Irishman.
I am. And on top of that, I don't think I own much in the ways of green. So,
well, you have. I try to buy you Admiral shirts and things, and get you into Mallrats gear, and nothing sticks.
I was very silly of me, but anyway, what can you do?
He has an aversion to being fourth.
Yes.
Anyway, most people watching this aren't going to know what that means, but anyway, that's fine. And of course,
say Ireland is the fourth kingdom of the United Kingdom.
The man with the fast mouth, of course, is Kevin Millard, and for very many reasons.
I don't know.
Is that
what
true,
to do
Kevin?
with
Ask his wife.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
All right, and of course, the man who's always on time, as we all know, that of course is Adam Woodward.
Early.
He is just full of this tonight.
Jody's on fire.
Yeah. He's got us all figured out, I think.
You know what? I might have celebrated St. Patrick's Day a little early.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, and as I said, we're here to talk about Orville Season 3, Episode 8. That is Midnight Blue. How did you guys feel about this episode? This is a long one. This is a really long one.
Well, yes, I think that's like one of my feelings is this is long. But
I have a funny feeling we're going to hear that a lot tonight.
Yeah, but it's like I think it's the longest runtime, right?
So far, yeah, 120. Hour 26 minutes.
Hour and 26 minutes. So that's like if you were going by like old school TV, it's it's definitely a two-parter under that model, maybe even a three-parter.
That'd be a 2.5 hour TV movie.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So we'll just put that all out on Front Street with the length, but everything else aside, with that, this is one of my favorite episodes. I would say some really strong moments. It's got Dolly Parton. It's got some action. It's got some amazing speeches in a council chamber. It's got some great stuff.
Yes.
Some other great moments. Just I love when I'm kind of jumping around, but like Gordon calls out the Mocklins on their bullshit. There's a lot of great stuff to love about this.
That's true. Yeah. All right, Kevin, how do you feel?
I agree. This is long, but it doesn't feel as long as some of the others. It's good. I really enjoyed it. There's lots of action, which isn't normally my favorite, but they hit the right notes with it. I love when Clyden comes back at the end and all that, kind of showing his growth, even though that's quick. It's
the only time I've liked Clyden in the entire series is this episode. Yeah.
And then Ashley's never watched any of this show, and the only two scenes she's watched now are the scene with Dolly Parton and the scene where Bortus stabs that guy in the eye with the pain stick. And she's like, what is this show?
Go find out, Ashley. See what you're missing out on.
Where have you been for the last, I don't know, how long have we been running this thing? Probably.
She's asking me what's happening. And I'm like, I cannot explain this whole dynamic to you. It's like over 6 episodes.
That's hard to just jump into. Yeah. Adam, as the man who's always on time, what were your thoughts on the runtime?
Jesus.
I'm pausing for a minute here just to consider my response. No, I really enjoyed it. It had the politics and it didn't rush them, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the council. It was good. It was a good explanation. You really got the sense of what's at stake here with the Moclan not being part of the union. I still like to know more about the other races, but that'll come, I hope.
Yeah. And
then, but the actual storyline itself with Topa being abducted, and it was great. Boris's response as a dad who's seen his daughter.
He goes full tilt. It's great.
Yeah, but believable. And I think it wrapped up fantastic. Like with Clyde in that end, it was great. That was a good ending for me.
Good ending, yeah.
So I mean, we're all fathers, and I think we all have views on how Clyde behaved before, and now like you said, Jody, he has come around.
It's the only time I've ever liked him in the entire series.
Like I'm starting this episode tonight with us, almost a perfect 10.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll see if that changes during.
We'll see if we can tear this down for you then.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can bring down your hopes and dreams.
It's all long. Right. Don't forget it's how long it is, Adam.
It's very long.
Okay, I did this in 2 parts. I was good.
All right. There you go. All right. Well, let's get into it, boys. We got a lot to cover here, so let's move on quick. All right. And of course, and as always, Dave will make sure I get the right character names because
I'll try.
You will. I'm sure you will. All right. Anyway, we see the first thing is this scene with Kelly. Kelly is sitting there. She's got 2 drinks with her, which, let's be honest, if anybody just looking at that would think, well, Kelly's having a drink or 2. But
she's not going to get up twice.
Yeah. What's the point of going twice? But anyway, turns out she's meeting Bortis, and this is, I can't remember what she called the drink, but it was Reposado. There you go. It looked disgusting. And not only that, it had a lot of residue after he was done drinking it, which is, that's just terrible.
We've seen this before. Is it alcoholic? Is it meant to be like he drinks it so fast? Right?
I don't think there's anything on the ship that isn't alcoholic. Like
Kelly wouldn't touch it if it wasn't.
Yeah, Kelly literally lives on alcohol as far as we can tell. We even have scenes later on where she's drinking coffee and she realizes that it has alcohol in it. So,
it's 90 proof.
Yeah. But Bortis basically is having a chat with Kelly because Kelly's kind of a mentor to Topa. And he's explaining how he's having a hard time with her. And she's like, yeah, girls, basically. Kids on top in general can be really frustrating, as we all know.
Topa likes a boy.
Topa likes a boy, and he just is not ready for that. We don't know who the boy is yet. Soon we'll find that out. But at this point, she's like,
Bortis basically tricks Kelly into agreeing to talk to Topa.
Yeah, and then he just decides to walk off. And she's like, wait a second. And he's like, oh no, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's like, she's like,
we're told that it's been a year, since Clyden left, right?
Yeah, Clyden's been gone for a while at this point.
But Clyden only left 3 episodes ago, so I feel like there's been quite a time jump here somewhere.
It feels like that, but funny enough, it isn't according to the wikis. So I don't actually know what's going on.
I'm never one to disagree with wikis, Jody.
I know, and that's why I brought it up, just so we didn't have to spend 20 minutes talking about it. But anyway, sorry, Dave. But anyway, we see Topa, and she's working on the computer, I guess it is, and she keeps telling her dad to go away because he's knocking on the door. Well, it turns out it's actually Kelly. Kelly's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing some stuff in the simulator tomorrow at." I think it was 6 p.m. or something like that. And I would love for you to join it. And, Topa's very excited about that. And then I guess she uses this as kind of coy to sit down and kind of say, if you need to talk about anything else, girl stuff and whatever, then you can talk to me, kind of thing. And Topa kind of says, yes, I do. I have a crush on this boy. And, Kelly's there to lend an ear.
Kelly's like, if you feel some way about a boy or a girl or whoever it is, you got to tell them right away.
You got to tell them. You just got to tell them.
Don't pine over that. You know.
I knew who else knew when they were talking that they were definitely talking about Malloy. Like this was going to be
instantly.
Because Topa says, "Well, he's funny," and you're like, "Well, it's got to be. It's either Ed or Malloy, probably, right?" So
yeah.
It would have been even funnier though if it was Ed.
You know,
because then you have the Kelly dynamic with it as well, right? But either way, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, we go and see Malloy. Malloy's sitting in engineering right now. He's talking with everybody in engineering. I can't remember exactly what they were talking about before they were interrupted.
Well, remember, Malloy doesn't work in engineering, so he's
kind of
just
hanging
here.
out.
He's just here hanging out, bothering the engineering team, and
bothering everybody. Yeah, and then Topa shows up, and Topa basically asks them out to dinner.
This scene is great. Him being oblivious, and they're all just looking at him.
And all of a sudden we see, whoa! Even Dan is like, what?
Yeah. I really like you, and then he's like, I really like you too, Topa. You know,
I really like you too, Topa, and everybody else is just like, you're an idiot. Right?
Yeah. I like the way. Yeah, because I'm glad that there's no entertaining this notion whatsoever. This was, because this is not
well,
good.
the best thing is, like, he still keeps going, and then eventually he gets it, and Lamar's like, there you go, Sherlock.
There it is.
There it is. He's like, oh, dinner.
He's like, oh, yeah, no, dinner, okay. And then Dan's like, I don't know what's going on here, but, this is not
a lot of these bits have not landed in this show for me for a while, but this one did. This one was I found this pretty funny.
The last couple have been fairly dry, where this one's pretty good. Yeah,
it feels like this could be real life, like almost, right?
Yeah,
like this is plausible. So
So
anyway, and then how they're making fun of Gordon after, like, were you, and it's like, he's just like piss off to all of them.
Yeah, he's like,
we're not talking about this.
Yeah, this is not a thing.
even Dan was ribbing him, and Dan's awesome. But anyway, so we end up going into the ready roomish thing there, the observation room, I guess, or whatever. And they're talking to Halsey, and he's talking about how, what was this? This was they have to be sent to whatever the planet's name was. I can't remember. The all women Mocklin planet,
the sanctuary planet.
The sanctuary.
I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, and he's basically picked Kelly and Bortus to be the two that are going to go. And I guess the Mocklins are sending a delegation as well. And this is to make sure they're adhering to the agreement, and they're not abducting more little girls from Moklis and stuff like that, which we find out later might not be the issue. But anyway, and then we go into this. I like this scene actually, where Kelly and Bortus are getting ready, and he throws down the laser rifles. She's like, yeah, no, I don't think this is what he meant. It's like, I think we're just using sidearms.
Yeah.
And then Topa comes in, and Topa finds out that that's where they're going, and she really wants to meet her idol. And he's like, well, if the captain will agree to it, you can go as well. But he's very reserved. He doesn't want her to. But Kelly kind of inches him on a bit, which turns out to be a little bit of a sore spot later on. But we end up seeing that. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go pack now. So she just assumes that Mercer's gonna say yes, because I guess that's the normal thing for him, is just to say yes to everything. So anyway, now I don't know about you guys, but I think some of the best planet and excursion shots have come out of this episode.
Yeah,
this scene looks amazing. This screenshot doesn't even give it justice when you're watching.
There's one where it's the planet, it's something like that, like the planet against this backdrop, and it looks incredible.
Yeah. Even when they're coming in, they come in through the clouds and stuff, and then we see, the islands and all that. They eventually come down to land. They make a note of the fact that the other, they ended up coming down and landing because they were supposed to meet the Moklis delegation on the shuttle, and turns out they've already come down.
Yeah, it's just to be in orbit or whatever.
It's supposed to be in orbit, yeah. So anyway, they tell Topa to stay back in the ship. They're going to go investigate. They find the three of them. Now, are these the same guys from the other episodes?
Maybe like the lead guy. The other two don't talk, so I'm not sure.
You don't know if the other two, but the main guy, I think.
It sounds like the same guy.
It does sound like him. Yeah, that's what I thought. But basically, he says they've already done their inspection, and they came down early because they got here early, and basically they give them each other lip, basically. And then at the end of this, I think they said, okay, well, we're going to go do ours. And they're like, you guys can go back up into your ship. And they're like, yeah, no, we're staying down here. So anyway, we get this nice little opening walk-in scene, which was kind of cool, where they walk through this little like gate thing and you see all the people running around. Nice little village they got going on here, I guess.
It's like it's a hippie commune paradise, you know. It's
very happy.
Very happy. They're playing the music. They're dancing. Yeah. They're
everybody's cousin Davin would love this place. This would be great.
He probably would, yeah. If he's like, is Seth MacFarlane there?
No, they left him on the ship.
They left him on the ship.
Oh, okay. Then he might like it, yeah.
But anyway, it's a neat little thing. They got little like kind of huts and stuff like that, and it looks like this is a relatively booming environment right now. So anyway, they end up meeting, I can never remember this lady's name. Havina, that's right, there you go. So it turns out they run into Havina. Now I didn't notice this until just now, but you could actually see the picture of Dolly Parton right here. It's
well, and Dolly Parton is playing in this scene. She's listening to Dolly Parton.
She's listening to 95 or?
Yeah,
95, yeah. But you can actually see it in there, and I didn't notice that on the first view, so that's kind of neat. Because later on, you see almost like a shrine to her. But anyway, they do their little meet and greet, and Topa gets to meet her idol. Topa's like, I've read all your books, blah blah blah. Great.
Saw her in the simulator, of course, in the Tale of Two Topas.
Saw her in the simulator.
And again, this lady that plays Havina is amazing. Like she plays this character.
Rena
so
Owen,
well.
I believe.
Was that the name? Okay. But basically, they decide they're going to go do their inspection. They're going to leave Topa with Havina. And Havina's like, hey, let's go into my book writing room, basically, my writing room. And this is where we see the
it's quite the shrine.
Amazing shrine to Dolly there, which is quite funny. I'm pretty sure this has something to do with Seth's love for Dolly Parton as well. That's one of the reasons why it's incorporated. But
great thing about Dolly Parton is even people who don't like country music like Dolly Parton.
People just like her for her. They don't even.
She's kind of like she's an icon, really. She's been like
really
famous for decades, in our world, But it's hard to imagine her being this popular in the future. But maybe, it's she really resonates with those Mocklin women.
Exactly. So anyway, she basically tells her the various things that are going on, and it turns out there's going to be a festival tonight. They're going to have a little bit of a celebration gathering because both the moons are aligned or something like that. I guess this planet has two moons, and they do a lot of dancing and a lot of hippie stuff.
They do their moon dance.
Again, I'm pretty sure Davin would love this. We got our.
It feels like kind of like almost like a Renaissance fair.
Well, the music in this is almost like that too. Whenever they're kind of doing the like pan shots around the village, it's always this kind of Renaissance fair music going on.
Yeah, and they're dancing around what I believe are the lava stones, because they talk about those later on. And everybody's having a nice little feast as well. And I guess all the little girls are looking towards Kelly because they haven't seen her before. And they're interested in human females as well. And basically they have this nice little dish. Oh, do we have a joiner, or did somebody leave?
He came back.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Were you trying to say things before?
Yeah, they were playing Jolene.
Oh,
no,
they're playing Jolene.
No, it was 9 to 5.
No, around the campfire.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
I didn't notice that.
Oh, because Jane says, "Do you recognize this tune?" And I was like, "No," and then she didn't tell me what it was.
Yeah.
So
I never even clued into that. Thanks, Adam.
Yes.
But basically, yeah, they're having I can't remember what the discussion is here, but basically something to do with the Firefly things that they have, and
Illuminati. No, can't remember the name of them either.
No, that's a whole different thing, Adam.
Yeah.
It's close though. It's something.
It's like the lumens or something.
Luminites.
Luminites. Something like that.
But basically, Topa wants to go check them out, and Bortus says, "Yeah, you can leave the table and go check it out."
So there's the kids playing with them. Topa walks around into the thing. She ends up running across a bunch of them. There are only lines in this type of area, but we see later on it looks a lot like a firefly. It's very close to it.
But they have multiple colors is the other big thing too.
Yeah, they have multiple colors, and I guess blue is the rarest of the colors. And she ends up meeting her name again, which I've already forgotten.
Havina.
There we go. And Havina basically, talks to her about them, says a little bit of the lore about them, and then she ends up giving her a necklace, which I guess was made by the lava stones and on the beach and stuff like that. And she got this nice little thing, I guess. It looks like a bunch of rocks to me, but whatever. Anyway, and then at this point, this is where Havina kind of says, "Hey, I could use you in this kind of thing that I've been doing that I'm not supposed to be doing, but I'm now doing."
Do you want to join the Maquis?
Basically, you want to join the Maquis. Yeah, same idea.
How old is Topa? Like, relative to like what a human would be?
Physically she's like 3, but she seems to be like maybe like an older teenager, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
Too young to date Gordon,
and too young to be asked to be a spy.
Yeah, she shouldn't be in this situation, and this is where Havina kind of drops the ball here. But she basically
this is Havina's Cisco moment.
Yes,
where she does something morally dubious for the greater good.
Right. Well, it's it's kind of like this idea of like if your cause is just, are the risks you're putting people in valid? Is Topa even old enough to sign up for this cause? Which of course,
did I miss the genocide?
No. Did you? I don't know. It's hard to miss, but like some interesting, because the whole thing too is that the colony is only safe from the Moclans destroying it because they had to agree not to take on any more refugees. Yeah. And so Havina's clearly, Havina's an idealist, a revolutionary, somebody who's not going to stop, right? So, and is willing to sort of, put other people in harm's way for the greater good.
But even for the rest of the colony, does it make sense to put these sensitive secrets in the hands of a child?
No.
Right?
No, it's like
especially one that is emotionally has been basically kicked around emotionally for the last or basically her entire life. She's had it pretty bad, so it's.
Well, she's also her hero, and she's taking advantage of that too.
Which kind of really doesn't paint Havina in a good light.
Well, she's not a perfect character, which makes her feel more real, and less, because it's easy to write a perfect character, I guess,
Absolutely.
But Havina is like this is a little, and Ed and Bortus kind of make that clear to her, in different parts of this episode later on.
Yeah. Right? So anyway, Havina leaves, and at this point, she spots one of the blue ones, the rare ones, and this thing buzzes around. She follows it through the forest, through these nice little pathways, which are quite beautiful.
And Bortus actually goes on later to say, Topa knows better than to wander off into the jungle all by herself.
No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. Not even kind of. But anyway,
it's the first thing she did.
She literally did that right after. So anyway, this little bug lands on this leaf, and she goes to grab it, and at that point she can hear some things going on, and the bug just takes off. It flies away really quickly, and then all of a sudden she's abducted, which somehow I've missed that frame, but
the birds go up in the sky.
The birds go up in the sky. We see the 2 moons, I guess it is. Both of these are the moons. And at that point, she's been abducted. And turns out it's the Moclans. Who would have thought? But anyway, so the Mocklins end up throwing her on the ship.
They don't have to listen to your accusations, Jody. These unfounded accusations and circumstantial evidence.
So anyway, they end up getting in their shuttle, and they take off. Now, I don't want to be a dick here, but that had to have taken, 20 minutes probably? She was probably wandering around. Wait, how does Bortus not know where the hell she is at this point? Like, he should have known that, like, she's gone. Like,
I don't know. My kids were 16 years old. I didn't know where the hell they were a lot of times.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I didn't know where most of my kids were either. So, okay, we'll give them a pass on that one. And I can't remember what this.
Well, plus, I think there's some security. Like you're feeling like you're at a table with officers. You're talking,
Yeah.
There's a sense of security going on here that he feeling. I think that and he's brought her. He's feeling that this is a safe place.
Yeah, and you'd think Kelly would figure it out more than anybody because she saw her multiple times talking to Havina, and then Havina is now back at the table.
Well, there's even when Havina's talking to Topa, you see like Kelly looking back like several times and going, "This conversation's going on for a long time."
Yeah, this seems a little odd. Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, it's always the people who don't have kids that seem to worry more, right? So
yeah, that's because they're used to that. But anyway, they put 2 and 2 together that she's missing. The entire village starts looking for her. Kelly's going into houses and stuff. She just finished checking, I guess, the reading area or the writing area in Havas. What? Havina. There you go.
I was trying to figure out what word you were trying to say.
Yeah, it's always a name for me. But anyway, they're looking through the woods, even though she wouldn't have gone there. She knows better. And it turns out they find the necklace that Havina has given her. That has fallen and is now sitting on the ground. And most of these leaves are very normal North American leaves. So I'm sure there's some botanists that are like, yeah, this is obviously Earth. But anyway, so they look at this. They at this point, the realization has come that she's gone. She's missing, big time. And at this point, Bortus is now in full on dad mode. He's pissy. And he's like, who could have did this? And it's like, it had to have been the Mocklins. Like, that's the other people that aren't. So anyway, we see the ship, Kelly, and they want to use the communications relay on the ship to contact the Orville or something like that, or at least do a scan or something. So anyway, they realize that their ship has been sabotaged. It can't be taken out with the normal thing. They only have the main thruster. So Kelly rewires it so they can take off with the big thrusters. Turns out that is a very bumpy ride. I guess they have those maneuvering thrusters for a reason. And everything is just all over the place in that view. They eventually, leave the atmosphere. And at this point, they have a discussion. Do we go back to the Orville or do we chase it? Because they have a little bit of I think they said an ion signature or something like that.
Yeah.
Every ship in space always leaves something around.
This is Star Trek all over right there.
Right here. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, and Kelly just looks at him and she doesn't even ask him the answer to the question. She just automatically assumes we're going after her. So that's what they do.
Yeah, we can either chase down, because the good thing they do, because they probably wouldn't have found her, right? Otherwise,
yeah.
Or they go after
they wouldn't be able to find the black site. Yeah,
and they have no communications because they've been sabotaged.
Yeah, it's been sabotaged. It's going to take a while to fix. At this point, we see that Topa is on the ship with the 3 of them, and they make a comment about, do all females talk this much? Which I'm going to leave it there for everybody to interpret. But anyway, they're basically, he just looks at her and he's like, if you don't shut up, I'm going to take your tongue out next.
Yeah, because he makes some remark like, did you talk this much before they cut off your kalish or something? Or...
Kalish, yeah, which I guess is the word for penis for Mocklins.
Yeah, it'll be your tongue next and whatever. But they're not very nice, these Mocklins.
Yeah, no, I get the impression they aren't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he leads over to her and he's like, yeah, I'll take your tongue if you continue. So meanwhile, on the Orville, we have what's her name?
Tala.
There you go. Tala is currently at she's in the captain's chair, and Mercer just shows up, so she relinquishes that. And at this point, I think they got, what was it?
They're trying to communicate with the shuttle, and they can't.
So
then he orders them to the planet.
Yeah,
so guys, I want to point out something here, because this is, to me, one of the things that pushes it to the 10 here, is that this is the only scene we saw Charlie talking, the only scene we saw Isaac talking, and we barely saw Claire in this episode. So after being like overdosed with him for the last few,
it's kind of nice to level that out a bit. Yeah. So, and not much Mercer either. We don't get a hell of a lot of Mercer.
I don't mind Mercer though.
At the end, we get him a little bit at the beginning, but there's not much action with him. He probably was shooting another show at the time. But basically, Charlie's like, that's against the treaty. We're not allowed to go there, right? Only the shuttle can go there. And he's like, yeah, I know that, Ensign, you idiot. Get going. Basically, is what he said.
He didn't say you idiot.
He didn't say you idiot. But
you're paraphrasing.
I am paraphrasing, but let's be honest, that's what he thought. And she got put in her place and told to shut up, basically.
You dare take my orders?
What's that?
How dare you talk like that in front of my men?
Exactly. So anyway, Mercer ends up talking to Avina, and he basically says, where is she? You know something, blah, blah, blah. We need to know. And she's not really divulging any information at this point. And he's pissy. He's getting really pissy because he's like, I need to know where these people are. Like, I got shit to do here, like.
Well, and he senses that she's holding something back, right? He knows.
Well,
he knows.
He knows. Yeah, he knows. And she's not very forthcoming with any information. And I don't even think she even gives him that much information in the scene, does she?
Well, he basically he calls her out, and I think she eventually comes clean here at the end, right? Like she, because,
Yeah, and he's really pissy about that because he's like, she's just a little girl. Like, why are you bringing her into this, kind of thing? And he's like, hey, it's about 1,000 people, not just her.
Right. She's trying to say she's about the whole cause and trying to save thousands of people, but like her point of view does have some validity to it,
but this is probably not the person you should be picking to do this.
But I agree with Ed in the argument here, but I understand her point of view.
So Ed basically decides he's going to have to go talk to the council at this point, doesn't he? Or is that
he's going to call the admiral?
He's going to call Halsey. Yeah,
he calls Halsey first. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he calls Halsey. They explain it to Halsey. Halsey's like, yeah, that's bad. That's bad. And at this point, I guess Halsey's like, yeah, well, we have to have, we have to be diplomatic about it, blah, blah, blah. And kind of
all the evidence is circumstantial. They can't launch an investigation until they actually have Avina on the record giving this testimony, because then there would be a motive. So I don't know. It seems.
And she says she won't.
And then she's like, well, then I'm not doing shit. Yeah, I'm not saying shit. I'm not going to testify. And then, Admiral goes, it goes without saying that I'm profoundly disappointed in that decision.
Yeah. I do like McFarlane's like whole look during this whole time, because he's so disappointed because it's somebody that he kind of admired. And he's very disappointed.
Also, they did a lot for her in setting this up and getting this established.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely,
yeah. The admiral included, right? The admiral was the one who made the deal.
They're all feeling kind of portrayed, basically. So then we go back to.
But you do sort of see her side of it too. Sure. Like it's not just this one person. She's weighing this over the lives of thousands of people, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
And lots of unborn people too.
And
right?
She's trying to do the right thing, but unfortunately, she's also pulled this kid into it.
Yeah, well, she's made a mistake in trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. So anyway, they figured out that there's one planet that's it's supposed to be unpopulated, and it turns out that might be the planet where there might be something going on, and that's where the signature kind of went to. So they're going to go investigate that, and then at this point, the Orville's like, oh no, she finally decides
this is what Star Trek was missing the back in just one. Is those kind of visuals.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, It looks
There's
so
always a
good.
black space behind them, right? Yeah.
You know who did this really well? Babylon 5.
Babylon 5.
You know, with your Babylon 5.
It was showing all this great color in the space and in the backgrounds.
Go do a Babylon 5 rewatch podcast, and no one will watch it.
One day. Don't worry.
Yeah, you do it. All right.
We'll get there.
All right. But anyway, I'm just teasing you. So anyway, Tally comes in and she says, "You have a visitor." Mercer wants you to go
to the simulator.
The simulator. So she escorts her. She says, "Yeah, I'll be out here if you need me for anything." And she goes in, and it's a nice little cabin.
As soon as I see this, I'm like, "Oh, Dolly Parton is coming in."
You know what? And I totally forgot Dolly was even in this episode. And I'm like, I knew she was in an episode, but I didn't remember it was this one. So it was kind of a nice surprise to see her. And sure enough, she gets greeted by Dolly, and Dolly's, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, she's very nice, and
a hologram of Dolly.
She's hologram, obviously, but obviously played by Dolly Parton. But you know, she does I think she does a half decent job, but this isn't acting in sci-fi shows is not Dolly Parton's thing. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't say it was that strong of a performance, but it was nice to see her.
I was good with it. I think that the point of the scene, well, and at first Havina is very guarded because she feels like she's being manipulated by the captain to change her opinion,
which
she is trying to do. But but he knows that she has this obsession with Dolly Parton, and Dolly Parton, they connect over both being women from the mountains. Dolly Parton's the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. That Dolly talks about this time when she was a kid and she nearly cut off her toes, and her mother with the mason jar, and her mother had to sew them back on with kerosene as an anesthetic.
I think that story is true.
And cornmeal
to suck up the blood. Oh my! It was just
cornmeal. I know. Number one, cornmeal is actually accurate because cornmeal is something that you can use to stop, because it's an old trick to use with dogs that are bleeding as well. You can
it sounds like she was lucky she didn't get like a gangrene or something. You know?
But she did. She grew up very poor in the mountains. Like, I mean, that's all true. I'm going to find out about the toe though.
Yeah,
I love Havina saying, "I don't understand the point of this parable." Dolly Parton's just like, "It's just a story.
It's just a story." But the point, I guess, was that like sometimes you got to deal with the immediate crisis without having to worry about like the bigger problem was they didn't have money and they didn't have access to these things and But that doesn't really matter.
It was the crisis without
that's what they had to do to get through that particular issue, right? So
and it kind of sits with Havina pretty well eventually, and the two of them kind of relate to each other. And Dolly says, I still come to the mountains every so often, and I do that just to kind of get away from everything and get some clarity on what I'm thinking about and clear my head. And Havina kind of responds to that because she grew up in the mountains as well, hidden from other Mocklins, and she just had her family and that was it, right? So I guess she can relate to that. And then Dolly pulls out the guitar and starts singing a song,
her fine poetry,
and I like how Dolly Parton's like, well, I don't know if I'd call it poetry, but it's
just a song. Here's a song for you. And so she plays "Try," which I never heard before this episode, but I really like the song.
Yeah, I've heard
there's some great lines in that song about life is hard, same as it ever was. So just try, And it's really a song I think about to like maybe younger people who feel the despair sometimes in this world.
Yeah,
and
it's not a bad song to have, that's for sure.
Right.
But anyway, we also see that she's kind of tearing up a bit, which I don't know if it was just the makeup was a little too heavy on her.
No, I think she's crying.
I'm sure. I'm just kidding. But anyway, we get this cool scene during the song, which I thought was kind of needed, where we see Mercer and he's just looking out into this like nebula, and he's just, waiting for, he's kind of contemplating what he's going to do next, and then Havina shows up. And she tells him, "Okay, I'll do it.
I will testify." Oh, no,
I'll
it's
testify.
a great little montage. Well, it still has the Dolly song going, and then like when they go to the exterior shot of the Orville moving here, like through the nebula, it looks amazing. Like it just
absolutely,
and
yeah.
I got
some
to the song.
Yeah, to the song.
It's
moving to the song, and
So he walks onto the bridge, and the first thing he says is he just says, set a course for Earth, and nobody even says anything. They just go, okay, and that's it. They don't even question it like normally somebody does. We get these nice little external shots of the Orville, and it's like phasing through everything, which was really cool. Very, very cool shots to see. Just that coming out of the folding mist and stuff. Very cool. But anyway, we go back to the Mocklin ship. And at this point, they've now landed, and they're now in some sort of facility. We don't know what it is yet, but it's not good when it has this kind of lighting. When you walk down a hallway and the lighting looks like this, guys, you're instantly not a good place. Like
it's like an underground bunker thing.
Yeah, like this makes movie theater lighting look great. It's just terrible. But anyway, they put her in a room.
It looks like a Cardassian kind of place too. I mean, they do.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah, it's like this is totally like. I bet they got 4 lights here too.
Yeah, this is where the Obsidian Order would like to interrogate you with lights. Garrick would like the place. I think
Garrick would definitely like that place. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, they put her in a room. She's a little confused. It's a room with a chair, and as an adolescent, she doesn't really totally understand the gravity of her situation just yet, but she'll get there. Now, this guy, do we know this guy? Is this the guy from a couple episodes back when they were doing the voting thing?
I don't.
Is this the guy that got stabbed?
I don't think we're supposed to know him.
No, I think he's just a torturer.
He's just a torturer with one eye. All right.
And he's horrific looking, so he's got that already. And,
Yeah, and he tells her to sit down in the chair. She does it. Just straight does it.
Well, he gives her a glass of water to start, and then he starts.
Yeah, and he's like, "You must be thirsty. Here, have some water."
Yeah, he's credited just as Inquisitor, and he's not in any other episode.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was, remember when they were all standing there, and then the one guy got stabbed? I wondered if it was that guy. But either way, anyway, he ends up just straight cold cocking her. And she's got some blood coming out of her mouth. And at this point, we're back to they've now kind of gone to this desolate planet as well. They're now cloaking themselves so they can get down. They end up landing in this way far away from the objective, which seems to always be the case in these things.
And
you have
Star
to have
Trek.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's the trope of you can't park too close.
I guess she'll be discovered, but hey,
they have to be as far away as they need to be for Topa to be tortured just long enough to
fair enough.
In time.
That's what it is. Yeah, they
move at the speed of plot sometimes.
Yeah, but we see that both Kelly.
This was great. I love how this came out of warp or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Did you see it just appear and then it's got the slow? I love looking in from the outside. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, they do a lot of those shots in this show, which is something that it would have been nice to see more of in Star Trek. You don't get too much. Discovery did it, I think, but I don't remember much of the end of the series is doing it. But anyway, so we end up they've now arrived as
Gordon wants to go. He's like, "Hey, I want to go. Can I come with you to
This
Earth?"
was odd to me that usually in military, naval, they say, Talia, you have the con, and there was none of that here.
Nothing.
He just left.
Straight out leaving. Yeah.
I think he says you have the bridge to Earth.
No, he didn't. He did not. Because I went and listened again.
Yeah. And with the runtime, they could have easily threw that one in.
They had time to throw that in.
Yeah, they didn't.
Oh, did we mention this episode is long?
It's very long. We're only like 30 minutes into the episode. Right
No,
now.
we're not.
No, we're getting through it pretty quick.
Yeah, we're going. I'm trying to move it as quick as we can, guys. But anyway, we get to see the headquarters here for the thing, and she's now talking in front of the Senate, whatever it is. Is it a Senate?
So as this is sort of like the the Security Council, right? These guys on the lower decks here, the lower
yeah.
And everybody else is sort of the other countries, I guess.
No, I think I don't. I feel like it's just the public is sort of above.
The gallery, okay.
Yeah,
but the gallery is above because it's almost all it's all union people.
Because they say later that because I'm skipping ahead, but they'll expel the Mocklins from the union from this council, but still has to be ratified by some other chamber or some other, maybe a bigger legislature.
Well, this is why this can't be the only beings in the union.
Because there's no human representatives.
Well, this is why I thought it was a security council.
There's human representatives. They're right there.
Yeah,
there's 3 of them.
No, but they're the military. They're not the civilian representation.
Oh, you mean the civilian? Yeah. Well, this is Planetary Union Central. So, but again, we got some really cool aliens, even with him in the crowd there.
I'm always looking for some of these aliens too, like that one that was in the last episode, who was like the woman who did the cybernetics on the on tennis. There, I'm like, well, where was her species? I don't see them.
Yeah. We got.
And Bruce Boxleitner's back. Babylon 5 Zone, guys. Babylon 5 Zone.
I would think from something a little bit more important like Tron, but yeah, okay. If you want to go there.
If you want to go back to the early 80s.
If you want to go back to something that's good.
Let's talk mid-90s. Babylon 5.
If you want to go back to something people have seen. I mean,
so Dave has now worked this twice into this podcast. Twice.
Kevin, not when I'm drinking. But anyway.
It was so nice I mentioned it twice.
So nice.
Oh God, he's rhyming now.
He really is. But anyway, so the Mocklin are very pissed off about all this. They're like, yeah, no, this is all lies. This is all lies. Blah blah blah. And this woman's a traitor basically because she's a woman. I did love these aliens. These aliens are awesome. I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what they're supposed to be, but they're awesome. But anyway, that's just me. I still don't understand why these glasses have holes in them, but anyway, that's a whole other issue. I guess they're fancy. So anyway, we go back to Bortus and Kelly, and they're still making their way there. They find this.
Before this, I like when they're walking, and she's like, she talks about him bringing the weapons when he shouldn't have. Like, you disobeyed orders.
Yeah,
when you brought those weapons. And she's like, nice. My favorite is they were her orders.
Yeah, they were her orders, and he broke them. And yet, she's okay with it. Especially now, because, now it's worth it to have them. So anyway, they come across this little, valley, I guess, that they need to cross over. A little canyon area. So Bortus goes over no problem. Kelly, not so much. She falls down. She ends up, I think she pulls a ligament or something like that.
I liked that she fell. It was like, again, it wasn't perfect.
What do you have against Kelly?
No, not Kelly. Just the fact that it wasn't a perfect shot.
I am really tired of your anti-Kelly agenda. You need to stop.
I'm with you, Adam. It was like, sometimes things screw up, and like it gave them a moment here. And it was nice here where Bortus was like, hey, you've been a big help since Clyden left. I feel like you're part of our family.
Yeah.
All these things.
Really nice. It was almost to the point where it was going to get romantic, and then it doesn't.
I was wondering about that. Was it meant to be? Like,
I don't think it.
And I didn't need it. No,
I think it was one of those things where it was a what if thing. It was intentional, but
I'm glad
it clearly wasn't going to go there.
I love the whole scene right till that, and I'm like, come on.
But yeah, I was like, I think Bortus is like straight up into dudes only, So.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, he's into dudes. He's not into chicks. So, like, I think it was one of those things where it was more like
his mind is expanding.
He is. He's opening some new possibilities, new planes of existence.
So anyway, he puts this thing on her, and they start the healing process, I guess. And anyway, we go back to Topa getting the crap kicked out of her. She's having a bad time. Like,
she holds on for a long time.
This is one of the more intense torture scenes I think we've seen in any science fiction TV show.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah, like I was the whole time I'm kind of cringing. I was like,
well, if you can bring up Babylon, I'm going to bring up Battlestar again. Those scenes.
Oh my God, you guys are both.
Oh yes, yes.
Well, there was a great torture episode in Babylon 5 with John Sheridan on Mars, but I won't get into that.
What about... All right.
Shut up, both of you. Anyway, you know what? Kevin and I should just do this podcast. But anyway, so we have him, and he's decided he's going to bring out the torture stick, which he got from, I guess, the Krill.
The Krill.
Yeah, he stole it from the krill, and it's basically, it looks like just a cow prod, but he looks very happy with it though. Like, look at him.
It apparently can drive you insane too. It sounds like the way he describes it sounds like almost like a mirror universe agonizer, but
yeah. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Done in the style of a cattle prod, to your point, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so he pulls that out. We don't see it being used yet. But anyway, we go back to Bortus and Kelly, and they've come across this installation on this planet. Yeah, and clearly, for an uninhabited planet, this shouldn't be there. So this is clearly some sort of backsite kind of thing. They walk into this hallway. They already know. They know that this isn't good because why? The lighting. It's that simple, guys. And so anyway, they end up walking through. We get this really long kind of corridor walking thing. Plus, there's some fights as well. And then we go back to Topa. Topa's now getting stung with this thing. He's only got it on like setting 4. So they end up scanning. They end up figuring out that there's some life over here. And it turns out they're getting shot at. Because if you have a corridor in science fiction, you are going to be attacked in said corridor. That's just how that works. But anyway, so it's.
I like how she doubled back and got them from behind at that one scene, though.
Yeah. She's actually a pretty. She's tactically. She's a pretty cunning. She's a pretty cunning tactical person. For somebody, yeah, for sure. But anyway, and I like this guy. He got his ass whooped. Pretty good. These are all blurry because the scene's so damn quick. But anyway, and they're still walking around. They got the stances going on. They're still getting shot at. And then we go back to Topa, and she's getting it. It's now on level 6. Like, this is, she's.
And then Topa finally breaks, right? Topa gives up. He's like, "I'll give you the name. I'll tell you.
Give you the name."
Because we know that Topa does have the information they want, and Topa is holds out for like an extremely long time.
So at least I'm glad she does break. I think it serves the story better.
Yeah,
she's a kid. She's a kid.
Yeah, but she holds out for a long time. It seems.
Yeah, it just as the information is starting to flow, these two arrive. They end up putting them. Basically, they free her, and she's just beat.
Oh, and the other thing too was like before Bortus and Kelly show up, is that she gives up that information, and then the commander guy tells the Inquisitor, like, "Okay, kill her.
Yeah, now you can just kill her
and dump her in the canyon, and then and Kelly and Bortus show up just in time to hear that,
just in time to shoot him.
Yeah.
And at this point, the Inquisitor's sitting there with her. Bortus goes and consoles her. She still looks badass though. Like, she still looks like she's holding up pretty good considering, like, but he is in full tilt, massive pissed off mode now. He's hulking. And he grabs the Inquisitor and he just throws him around like a rag doll. It's great. And he's just getting his ass beat. And there's even a point where he gets tased on this level 6. He gets tased by this thing. It doesn't even affect him. He just keeps going. And then Kelly the whole time is like, "You need to stand down. Like, you can't be doing this."
Yeah, she should have just shut her mouth. This was
well,
was not gonna stop.
If you notice, she says it twice, and then she just watches. Because at this point, she's like,
she's
not stopping this, man.
She gets it, Bortus doesn't kill him, but
Bortus doesn't kill him. He does eventually kind of clue in that he needs to stop.
Well, he may have though, because remember he said when this thing goes up to high settings, it does something to your brain, and
right. He might have like given him permanent brain damage. Plus, he blinded him in the other eye.
Yeah, the other eye. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally shocked him in the other eye. So anyway, they run back to the shuttle. Which
and remember just before that happened, I don't know if you said it, but he got the information he was looking for, and then their guy comes in and said, "We'll kill her now. Throw her in the pit."
Yeah. So at this point, it sounds like they got the information. So they end up taking off, and they start getting chased by this thing. This was a really cool scene that I could barely capture, but very, very fast.
This reminded me of Star Wars Pod Racer.
Totally.
It feels like Phantom Menace a bit too. Just like I guess like my only like sort of like thing I'm unsure about is it's the same thing, like how they it seems almost too easy that they go into the facility and they're able to take out all the Moclans, and then they get chased here by like 4 Moclan fighters, and they're able to kind of get away.
Here's the question I have. Okay, how long did it take them to get from the shuttle to the compound?
Like at least a night. We saw it was night, and then it was day when they finally leave.
How long did it take them to get back to it?
Oh, instant.
Yeah,
almost instant. Yeah,
you move at the speed of plot. But
with an injured girl.
But I guess I guess I'm more forgiving of the time involved, but it's also like, how
I always am, yeah.
How easy it is for them to sort of defeat all the guards, rescue Topa, and then get away. But it's only an hour and a half, guys. We got to get this thing over.
Yeah, we got to get this thing going
as quickly as possible.
We got time for the trek back.
Guys, they make the weapons. They don't say they can use the weapons. I mean, come on.
Right.
So anyway, they end up leaving the atmosphere, and then they go to warp. And I guess they're on their way back to Earth, even though I guess technically they don't even know where the Orville is at this point.
Right. You think that they would go back to the colony, but they know enough to go to Earth.
Well, maybe they did go to the colony, and the colony told them that they were on their way to Earth. I don't know. Who knows? Or maybe they established communications at that point. So anyway, we see the Moclans are sitting down with the Union reps, and I can't remember what this guy's whining about, but he was whining about something.
You're just going on. You keep accusing us of this crap, and we don't do it.
Oh yes, and this is where
you disrespect our culture, and
and Halsey's like, we're not trying to disrespect you. And number one, the minute you see the fact that Malloy is sitting in the background, you instantly know he's going to be part of this somehow, right? Because like, why is he even in there? Like,
yeah, well, I don't know why.
I actually like that he went down. I like that because they haven't really established a relationship between him and Topa, like even a friendship or whatever. But it shows that there is one. Like he actually does care about her.
Yeah, well, he says earlier on, I think he's like my little sister, we all fought for you, and this is where we're at now. And he's just kind of sitting on the sidelines while these guys are talking, and then he gets up and just gives them shit. He's like, I am
need to call you on your bullshit. No one ever calls them on their bullshit.
Why doesn't anybody ever call them on their bullshit? These guys are assholes. I like the fact that when he stood up, he goes, I'm going to get court-martialed for this. And instantly the camera goes over to Mercer, and Mercer's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, I know. Should I say something? And he's like, no, you should not.
I know I'm gonna get court-martialed for this, but
they kind of egg him on. They're like, you have something to say, human? And then
he's like, you guys are dicks. I don't want to play with you guys anymore.
Yeah, he will not be entering the diplomatic corps.
No, he will not be part of any diplomatic relations later on. That's for sure. But anyway,
he's right. Fuck them.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be in the diplomatic corps either, Kevin.
No, I would not.
And again, I know I say it almost every episode we review, but like hands, just hands for the people that do all the makeup and special effects in this show. Like that looks amazing.
It's Michael Westmore, right? Who does it all, right?
I think so, yeah.
Or his family, like his.
Well, the family, yeah. I don't think it's just him, but yeah, I know it's just gorgeous. Like some of these things are just amazing to look at. Like even the Moclans, like even though they're supposed to all look kind of the same, they look completely different. Every single one of them. Like it's great. So, but anyway, so we go back to the council chamber where he's basically, saying these are all lies. We
want an apology.
Yeah, you give us an apology right now.
Have you even said thank you?
Yeah, have you even said thank you? Yeah. But anyway, and everybody's just kind of going off, and then at this point,
can I just ask you too, guys? Did you guys get that feeling that whole scene where Gordon's telling off the Moclans was kind of like an analogy to maybe right wingers, and you want us to be tolerant of you, but you don't want to be tolerant of anyone else, and this kind of stuff?
Well, this was in 2022.
22, so it's 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago, and it's maybe.
Yeah,
the primaries had started.
Yeah,
they had
started at that point. So anyway, we see the reaction of going. Somebody comes through the door, and it's these guys. They've shown up. All right. And again, I don't know speed wise, they're at the speed of the plot, I guess, but they're there. So anyway, and I love how Bortus walks in because Bortus just looks like he's fed up.
Right, he side eyes everyone.
Well, Kelly does too, for that matter.
Look at the look, though. Well, yeah. Kelly side eyes a lot of people, but like Bortus normally doesn't, but he is pissed.
Oh, I haven't mentioned too. I love these tactical uniforms that they wear for like.
Yeah.
Those are actually pretty cool. Yeah, they give me kind of a next gen movies vibe to the movie.
Oh, yeah. And when this guy's talking, one of his speeches. When he is doing his speech, all I can think is there will be no peace as long as Kirk lives.
Right.
As long as Kirk lives.
Yeah. The Chancellor, the Klingon High Council is dead. Yeah, he's very good.
Dead. He always talked about an undiscovered country. But anyway. Anyway, we got this, and Bortus does this little speech.
The Chancellor of the High Council is dead.
Anyway, so Bortus kind of says his thing, and he's like, yeah, I know they need to be kicked out, basically, and everybody stands in unification to kick out the Moclans. So the Moclans are being kicked out of the Union. So
well, everyone's just like, this is some bullshit. Yeah,
I love that through the whole thing, it was all like, we need to appease the Moclans because they're so important. And I love in the end, they expel the Moclans.
Yeah, they literally get rid of them. Yeah, they're like, you know what? We don't need your bullshit.
Knowing that they need them, as allies, but saying, you know what? Enough.
This is too far.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's now nighttime on Earth, and or at least in this area of the Earth. And anyway, we see Kelly, and she's kind of, staring off into space. And Mercer comes in and hands her coffee, and she's like, oh, great, thanks. And then she goes and takes a sip of it, and she's like, oh, there's more than just coffee in here. And he's like, yeah, I thought you could use that. She's like, I love you, basically, which is pretty much Candace every time we go on vacation. Coffee with booze in it. Anyway, and at this point, this is when, what's her name? I've already forgotten because I haven't said it in the last time. Havina goes to Bortus, and she's like, I'm really sorry for this causing. And he goes, I'm sure you are.
No, she's like, I don't expect you to forgive me. And he was like, that is a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, it's a great line.
Yeah. So anyway, and basically this is Halsey's like, well, we just got to live with this. This is how it's going to go. And
he talks about the messy divorce of splitting up with the Moclans too. Yeah. And I like that there's going to be a lot of difficulties. And I think they explore that in a couple of the future episodes.
And this is where he says to her that they're going to be a part of the Union, basically.
Yeah, that the Moclan colony.
Yeah, they're under protection by the Union, and they're going to be a colony. And, obviously, Kelly's very happy about that. Ed's pretty happy, too, as you can tell. So they end up going back. They end up docking back at the space station to, I guess, get some minor stuff. And this is the only time we see Claire in this entire episode, which... Well, I like Claire, but, we've gotten a lot of Claire.
It's been a lot.
Yeah. So it's nice to not have so much Claire. But anyway, Claire's trying to heal Topa. And at this point, this whole scene, I think, is fantastic. He's, you can just see the worry in his eyes, right? Like, the gentleman who plays this actor, I can't remember who he is, but
Peter Macon.
Yeah.
Peter Macon. That's it. Yeah. I think you're right. Fantastic. Like he portrays it so well. Like for a character that's so rough, like it's amazing how emotional he can still show.
I remember a lot of his facial muscles, everything from the forehead up is behind appliances, right? So
yeah, like he can't move that shit. So he's gotta tell a story with his eyes, basically. And she's like, she'll be okay. We're just gonna run some more tests, and at this point, she'll be fine. And this is when Talia shows up and says, you have a visitor. Turns out it's this doofus. What's his name again?
Clyden.
That's it. Clyden shows up, and I have to admit, I liked him in the scene because he was a father, which is what he should have been.
Well, he comes back. He's repentant. He feels bad about everything that's happened.
And it's believable.
But at first, when he walks in, I thought him and Bortus were going to have some sort of discussion, but he goes right past Bortus for the most part, and he's like, "I'm here to see my daughter." Right?
Well, he asked if he could see her. And Bortus just kind of looks at him and then turns to the side, like to let him pass, but doesn't say anything to him.
Yeah,
doesn't say no. Doesn't say.
And he has this. He has this nice little thing. He's like, as soon as I could get here, I could. And
what I love here is that she's happy to see him right away.
Right before the apology.
Yeah,
which I think
it's still her dad.
Still her dad, or one of her two dads in this case.
Well, and especially after what she's just been through, right? Like it seems that is. I like that. That they didn't drag out kind of I don't want to talk to you, or
Yeah, there was no hostility this way. It was more like she's been through shit, so like this is nothing compared to what she's recently been through. So
and it comes across as completely earnest and meaningful, and that you really feel that that Clyden has changed here.
Clyden's evolved, yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so and
like all right winger. Like all right wingers, they change their mind when it affects them.
Right. But until then, they don't get it, right? So
no, we're not a politics show, guys.
Oh, right. Neither is this, clearly.
There's
no politics in the Orville.
No, there's nothing you can even link to the two of these.
This isn't a political episode at all.
No, nothing's been said. There's no statement.
It's
all metaphors. Who even knows?
We don't even know what this all means. But anyway, he gives her a kiss on her forehead, and Bortus sees this, and he's clearly, happy to see this. And at this point, our next scene, we get to see the three of them. They're having some soup that Clyden has made, because Clyden is the cook of the family, as we've already.
I'm always like, though, but isn't everything replicated? Like, what?
Yes.
Like, does he actually make something in the kitchen?
I guess he programs the recipes, and then he hits the button, and that's making it now. I don't know.
All right.
So. But anyway,
we know that sometimes they cook some things on the ship. We know that grilled cheese sandwiches are made on occasion.
Yes, that's true. So I guess they have the facility to do it, but the replicator's there. It's kind of the difference between fast food and homemade food, I guess. But anyway, they're having this soup. Apparently, it's a spicy Mocklin soup. And sure enough, Kelly shows up at the door, and she's clenching her fists, which I actually thought was a really good way to do this because she's nervous.
Well,
she's nervous
to
remember,
everybody. She and
Clyden do not get along at all.
Yeah, well, he was very not nice to her.
But I think from an acting viewpoint, I think this was a great job of her portraying that, because it's great. It's a good thing to put in there.
It's funny too because Ashley was like, "What's with this tension between them?" I'm like, seriously, I'm not going to explain.
Yeah, we can't explain this. This is like 2 seasons worth of shit.
There's a lot you've missed, Ashley. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? If you're that excited, go watch the damn show. But anyway, no,
she only watched Deep Space Nine like 5 years ago, so who's to say she won't watch this now?
There you go. But anyway, well, there's some people that won't watch it, but anyway, so Kelly's like, she kind of gives the gist of it, and she's like, I just wanted to welcome you back, Clyden. And Clyden, instead of being the prick he usually is, he's like, I thank you, blah blah blah, and then he invites her to sit down and eat, because it's a spicy meal, and apparently Kelly likes spice.
And early in the episode, there was like kind of that reference to Kelly liking the hot sauce at the Mocklin. The cookout.
Oh, I never included into that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and
right.
You have the palate of a Mocklin, And remember, Mocklins can eat glass and whatever.
Yeah.
So
basically, anything that's on this table right now, they could easily eat.
Yeah.
And the table.
So Mocklin hot sauce does make me worry for any human who would try it. But
yeah, I would imagine she would have like some nasty bathroom after this, but. Anyway, she's gonna eat it anyway because that's
she drinks a lot. She can handle it.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. If her liver is getting quite a workout, so I'm pretty sure she's okay. But anyway, so she sits down and has a meal with her, and this is kind of, I guess, to portray, he's part of the family. I guess is a good way to kind of say it, and also her to kind of, be a little easy with what's his name, Clyden. And I think that's it. I think our last scene is this one, which is a nice little shot, I thought, with the space station orbiting Earth.
The space station too looked like looked great in this episode. I don't know, everything was looking even better than even earlier in the season. I thought
they do some great stuff on this. It's just and again, credit to pretty much the entire thing, but overall it's fantastic. But anyway, that's it. That's the episode, and we did it in an hour and 10 minutes, guys, which is pretty good.
Well, we're not done yet, Jody.
Oh, we're not. What happened?
I need some facts. I need
maybe
some
fun facts.
Some fun
facts. All right, you gonna
fun
do it?
Facts with Adam.
Oh, nobody put up the graphic.
Fun
facts with Adam.
Fun facts with Adam.
All right, let's go.
Time for some fun facts.
Okay, you guys were talking about the woman who plays Avina. Her actual name is Rena Owen, and she's a New Zealand actress. And she played in the first season About a Girl, and the second season Sanctuary, and now this one, Midnight Blue.
Yeah. And she briefly showed up in Tale of Two Topas, I guess, archival.
Well, she was
right.
Yeah.
So she's born in New Zealand, of European descent, one of 9 children. She actually became a nurse before becoming an actress. So she went off to England and went to the Actors Institute. She was in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and did a cameo in AI, if you remember that movie by Steven Spielberg.
I do.
Right. She she almost acts with it doesn't sound like a New Zealand accent or even an American. It's kind of like a British accent, but not quite. It's
She originally auditioned for the role of Claire Finn for the pilot, but casting remembered her and called her back for the audition of Avina. And during the preparation for filming, Owen remembers fondly meeting the makeup department when she was cast for the full body prosthetics and meeting Peter McCon, the other alien actress. She recalls filming her first trial scene. It took 12 hours, and she forgot lines at one point. Unfortunately, McFarlane helped her along the way. I guess that's kind of his job as director and writer.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, she's definitely a fixture, and hopefully will come back. She also connected with Dolly Parton immediately during the filming of Midnight Blue and became friends with her after that.
Oh, that's awesome!
Oh, cool.
Now, speaking of Dolly Parton, that whole scene around the toe, or the discussion around the toes, it was actually a fact. That happened to her as a child, and her mother did pour kerosene on them. It doesn't mention the cornmeal, but it certainly mentions the kerosene in the sewing them back together.
The kerosene is it anesthetic, or is that more of a disinfectant?
I guess
so.
Disinfectant, yeah.
But anesthetic is to take pain away.
Anesthetics take pain away. No.
Well, she also mentions during the story that everybody held her down while this was happening.
Yeah, while her mom is sewing her toes back to her feet.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, and to quote Dolly Parton in this, I'm citing Woman's World, actually, this interview came from. I remember them picking me up and Dad and my brothers holding me down and Mama pouring kerosene on my toes. They held me and Mama sewed them back together where they held.
That's tough. I had one stitch put in my thumb without any anesthetic, and not pleasant.
No, I bet.
Yeah.
I won't even tell you my story on that one, but it was nasty.
Okay, some other fun facts about this episode. Excuse me, guys. Just give me a second here to cue them up. I am just going back here.
He's even late with the fun facts.
He's always on time. You told us.
They're worth it, Jody.
You know what? I shaved the beard and I got all snarky.
This is an hour and 27 minutes long, including all credits, but not commercials. This is by far the longest of both the third and all episodes gotten up to date. And this eclipsed the next longest episode, which was A Tale of Two Topas, which was 11 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
Wow, there's 11 more minutes.
Because it feels like every week on Fun Facts, you're like, and
this
episode is the longest ever until last week's episode. It's like,
as I mentioned, the song played during the nighttime festival is an instrumental version of Jolene. The episode
that I didn't catch on at all. That's awesome.
This episode is unusual in that several starring cast members only seen briefly. John Lamar only scene comes from asking Topa where Topa asked Gordon for a date. So that's the only time he's in it. Isaac has only one single line regarding a scan he's running. Claire Finn only appears once. And Charlie Burke only appears once on the bridge.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, she's great.
She's coming around. She's coming around, just like Clyden.
Yeah,
there's
just in
there's
time
redemption.
for her to die.
There's time for change and redemption and forgiveness here, Jody.
Actually, I think the next episode might be the one.
Don't spoil anything.
But I mean, well, what do I know?
Yeah. I just have a couple more things. Just I'm flipping around here. I got lots going on.
I have another thing to say.
Jody, nothing. Just hang tight.
I'm loving this new rivalry.
I like it.
Jody, you just settled that. Well, the fun facts are coming.
At around an hour and 6 minutes and 20 seconds, Commander Kodan is shot by Bortus and his gun falls to the ground and shatters. This was likely unintentional, but kept in the scene anyway. The railgun was made of metal and would be unlikely to shatter so easily, especially given to future advances and blah, blah, blah. But I thought it was funny that they kept it on there on purpose. And you know, I don't know if you guys noticed that.
No, I did not notice it, like the gun shattering.
Well, I guess the prop just broke when it hit the ground.
Yeah, it must have. And they were but they must have liked the take enough to not care. So
yeah. And then this was one of those episodes that was filmed during COVID, and they were talking about, and I can't find the point now, but they were talking about having 3 cast members pregnant, COVID going on, and they just wanted to get it done.
Wow.
So they made it an hour and 27 minutes long.
Yeah. They're like, I know everyone wants to get out of here tonight, but we have 15 more pages to shoot. So
I know a lot of you women are pregnant, so I know that you like to stand on your feet. So let's do an hour and a half episode this one. God damn, that sucks.
Yeah, it was intense, that's for sure. So I think that wraps it up then. But all in all, great episode for me, and I like the facts.
Me too.
All right. Well,
yeah, great job.
All right. Well, I think it's time for something else, Dave.
Ratings.
Do you have a ratings song? I want to hear it.
Oh, we don't have a song.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
You got to try.
Let's just rate it then. How's that?
Yeah.
All right, Adam. Are you still at a 10, or have we dropped you down a bit?
No, I didn't say. I said close to a 10, but I'm going to give this a 10. I really like this episode.
Gonna give it a 10.
All 127 minutes of it. Sorry, not 1 hour 27 minutes, but it was great.
Isn't that in the movie with Franco? Isn't that
he
account
liked
127
minutes? It was
or?
so long, he had to watch the credits too. Dave.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 10.
Really?
As well.
All right, Kevin.
An hour and 27 minutes, and not a single minute wasted. Not a boring minute. I give this a 10 as well.
I just started typing in 10 the way you started talking. All right, well.
Now, Jody, what are you gonna do?
See, I walked in this thinking solid 9, but you guys have brought up a lot of good points. You know what? Let's give it a 10 across the board.
What?
Wow, a perfect episode.
It is a good episode.
I hope Davin's watching.
I hope
it's hard to make 127 minutes episode entertaining
and not be bored with it. Yeah, like
true.
It was.
Like, you know, this could have been a movie. Like,
as we said before we went on air, you know, I think this has actually got a longer runtime than the Section 31 movie.
It does, yeah.
And
thank God,
it was way better than that.
But you know what, though, like in some of the stuff you guys critiqued in the last few episodes about, you know, storylines that don't matter, you know, things that just too much going on. This was they picked everything purposely, I think, in this one, just to get rid of the clutter. And
well, we don't have any like side things, like we don't have like
focused.
Claire talking about her kids or something, or you know, Isaac trying to figure something out again. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it is.
There's so many great moments in this episode, and I think that in particular, Peter Macon is Bortus in this episode, and the one who plays Topa, Imani Pulam.
You know what? I think the cast, all the main cast of this episode, like, you know, Bortus, Kelly even, and even Mercer in some degrees.
Yeah,
like,
in the couple scenes that Mercer, like especially his scene with I always want to call her Helvita, but it's not Helvita.
Helvina?
It's Helvina. You know, like their scene in particular, I think is one of Mercer's stronger scenes, I think in the whole show. which isn't saying that much, I think.
Yeah,
but...
which just goes to show you the guy can act if he wants to, but everybody knows him as the asshole idiot.
And I also want to give this episode was written by Brandon Braga and Andre Bormanis. Although that
blows my mind that Braga had something to do with this. But
you know what? Like he can write crap like Threshold, but sometimes he can give you something like this too, right? Like so, it's pretty. He's I think he's an underappreciated writer in Star Trek. And
I've given a lot of shit to things that he's written, but this was really solid. This was
like he's had highs and lows, like as I mentioned, Voyager's Threshold, where Janeway has the salamander babies with Tom Paris. Like that's his creation as well.
What do you got against salamander babies?
Yeah, but he admitted.
Time I've heard about this.
When we saw him talk, Dave, he admitted that being a terrible.
Oh yeah, he's like it's a terrible episode. And then there was the Voyager panel later on. They're like, and I think it was Kate Mulgrew. She's like, who wrote that episode, Brandon, where I had the salamander babies? And he was like, I wrote every word of it.
That's good.
But kudos to Braga for writing one of the best episodes. Well, according to us, this is our favorite episode. This is a 10 out of 10, and we haven't given any episode that universal.
I don't think any
praise.
of us have all been agreement on one episode.
No, not like that. Like we've been we had 9.9 and stuff like that, but not perfect 10s.
So let me ask you, Dave, do you like action?
I do like action, Jody.
You like action in your sci-fi? Well, the next episode is Domino, and Domino is literally action the entire episode. It's great.
Kevin will like it.
I got our little preview card here. Where's that? I know that Halsey's back.
He's on the bridge.
He's on the bridge.
Halsey's not just back; he's in the shit.
Right.
Which is good.
Action is fine as long as the story moves forward.
No,
but when the story stops just to have battles, I get bored very quickly.
No, this one's full on. Domino, which is the creation of a powerful weapon, puts the crew and the entire Union in a political and ethical dilemma. So this is we even get to see that Krill chick again. We get to see her in this.
Okay. I don't really remember this one. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember the specifics of it.
This one has the pods, and I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's got a lot of stuff in it. But this one I definitely remember being an amazingly good, nice, action-y episode. So I think we'll all enjoy that one. But of course, will be next Monday at 8 something Eastern, most likely 8:10. Probably 8:15, 8:20 because of Adam. But past that,
Jody, shut up. Enough.
Anyway, Dave, thank you very much, and of course, thank you to the rest of my panel.
Yeah, and check us out Thursday. We're covering The Measure of a Man.
A classic episode
on our TNG on Thursday. In
my opinion, one of the only good episodes
I'm on
in
that.
season 2.
Yeah, Kevin's coming. Kevin hasn't even been on this season yet, so this will be his first time on the season.
Well, I probably know why he hasn't been on the season. Not a lot to talk about in some of those episodes. Anyway, I think I'm on the one after that one. I think I'm on the...
Yeah, you're on the one after that. The Dauphin.
Dauphin, yeah, that is a terrible episode.
Yeah, well,
but
they can't all be The Measure of a Man, guys. So.
They cannot all be The Measure of a Man for sure. This is an episode that doesn't even belong in this season. That's how good it is. But anyway, all right. Well, gentlemen, do we have anything else to say at the end? Any apologies for being late, Adam? Anything like that?
Jody, I say
I'd get one more in.
In the immortal words of Dolly Parton, you got to try.
Indeed. All right. Well, from all of us to all of you, have a good night. And of course, live long in podcast.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yes. St. Patrick's Day as well. Make sure you drink.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.